So to show you what I have so far, I've just been doing a little debugging here and there. But it's not much, but it's a lot more progress than I thought I would have at this point. First, let me just show you what the event system I set up so far has. So this is from the intro, from one of the videos that's posted on my other website. So the way it's set up is that you can script the Pokemon events. So like, let's say you want to talk to this person. This has slow text box. You can adjust the speed whenever you want. So you can't skip through this one. This is just right now. I'm just showing you what you can really do with the text box. I need to have the live stream message on the side because I can't see your messages. No, I can't have this pop out. Okay, well this is fine then. So first let me start off like referencing the videos. So let me actually go to the Reddit because that one has that's where I see the videos. So this is like straight off what you saw. So all three of these videos were made in GameMaker Studio, a program that now has gone up to GameMaker Studio 2. It's due to the limitations of how well it works that it takes literally like 10 minutes to load up and test out to see if the game is working properly or not, and you have to change that every single time you want to test something, which was really impractical. So I decided like I want to go more for a Python kind of approach, but then Python and it's a little too slow, so I decided to go to C++. However, I realized that I'm making this for people and not a lot of people have experience with programming, so I finally settled on using Unity because it's a lot easier. Say you want to have a Bulbasaur there, right? Say you want to have, I don't know, a Charizard right there. Have an event Charizard you want to talk to in town, right? So that you can easily change that. This is where the Bulbasaur is at, and what's Charizard's index number? Charizard's 36. 9th one? It's 6 then. Yeah. So now you can easily change any Pokemon, and this has every single Pokemon that's in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of the Sky. So So this has like every single Pokemon. I have resource files here showing every single sprite for every single Pokemon here. So this starter kit will have Pokemon up to Mystery Dungeon Explorer to the Sky level. Because that's every single for each Pokemon, right? So far, the trouble is getting through to is a lot of things become trouble now and then. So say I want, because even making up this event system took quite a long time to do, and I wanted to make it modular so like it's a lot easier to mess with like what the code is saying. Or like how to implement your own thing to it. So say you wanna like make a game where everyone in town has their own personalities, and that what you say to them like changes how they act to you. You can easily do that. And I'm really like, I was surprised when I saw the post on the Mystery Dungeon forum. And I thought to myself, like, oh, because I was always working on this project, but it's just been less and less. Like, it's been very difficult to work on it by myself, since I am literally the only person working on this project with coding experience. Because codes I had to come up with myself. Like, every single event, every single thing that's in Mystery Dungeon, I had to figure out how to do or add it to myself. So this is just like a stream true. Like, if you guys have any questions on like how I'm doing something or what I'm doing or what you want from this project specifically that isn't too difficult to implement or difficult relatively speaking. Like, it's not a lot of progress to say. Like, I managed to implement all the animations for Pokemon, like even the attacking and defending, attacking and like moving around and stuff. Thanks to some resources I managed to find online. Let me see if I could see. Let's try these. So these are where is it? This tool. Yeah, this tool over here. Mr. Dungeon 2 Side Commandos 2 is in research note. Yeah, they work more with modifying the ROM, which isn't really helpful for me because I'm making everything from Unity, which has the you don't use a ROM at all in this game. Like, you can't. The ROM is out of question. It's a completely separate own file. But within these, it has. They talk about sprites and how to like extract them using one of these programs, right? So I managed to extract these extract the sprites specifically, and showing like these are the animations. Like, every single one of them is like, it's pretty difficult to make out, but you could understand it kind of if you tried. But each one of these are like straight from the ROM. Well, not straight from the ROM. It's like decoded into a way where you can read it on the computer. But it's a translation of the ROM information, which means that any animation that was in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of the Sky can be shown in this kit. There's also like item data and move data and specific Pokemon data which some of it itself is still like some of it you don't know what it does. Like this unknown right here, we don't know what these data values are for, but I'm gonna use a majority of this so you can, like, even though the Pokemon data from Explorers of the Sky are up to, I think, Arceus Gen 4, right? And they're still not Gen 5, 6, or 7 Pokemon, we can, in theory, if someone puts in the effort, after I finish this, we can still add those Pokemons in if they're given the right information and right sprites and animation data. Yeah, Visual Studio Code is like one of my favorite places to code. It's just much simpler than Visual Studio itself. Community, it's such a slow startup time that Visual Studio Code is a lot easier for me to work with when I'm using so many different files. So we got like files for a lot of things. Right now I could let's see, objects, Pokemon. So right now I'm making these. So let's say you want to change, like easily have an Ivysaur on the game, and you don't have to want to. What's Ivysaur's index number? Oh, he's number 2. And then you have to drag this onto the object and drag that. I'm trying to make it so it's a lot easier. So all you want is just drag Ivysaur onto the game if you want to have him on the game. And each game has like each NPC, if you would, has a specific behavior, or like what do you want it to do, or a script. So the one for what you saw for the Bulbasaur or Charizard or whatever it was is here. So you have an event. They have different event systems. They set up to touch. Like if you want something to happen when you bump into the Pokemon, or you want something to happen when you specifically try to talk to it, or if it runs into view range, you can do that. So these are the messages you can put up. So you move to this place. You could set delay, like how fast you want to move it, how long you want to wait until something else happens. And this is like event, different types of events. So after you finish, say you wanna make someone in town. You want to befriend someone in town, right? So you're like, oh, you can start with the first event, and then change it to something else after, like, you talk to them a certain amount of times. You can move on to a different event and say, oh, hey, like, thanks for being my friend or whatever. Yeah, RPGX XP or RPG Maker, whichever, those are separate programs. So I saw like influence from Pokemon Essentials when I saw that they were that had that out. I'm like, oh, I'm sure it's not that difficult to make a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon version of that on RPGX Maker. And then I realized how, yeah, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon has diagonal movement. It has so many different types of animation that just would not itself be handled on such a program such as that. So I had to look for something that would support it. Even so, with that, like everything, like when Pokemon attacks, it does a specific animation for that attack, and because every movement animation for Pokemon is different, length and time. Like say a Charizard has such a different like animation frames it has than a Bulbasaur when it walks, or when it's standing, or when it's doing whatever. It's so much difficult to add that into RPG Maker or RPGX. And then battle system has to be entirely reworked because it's so much more different. see. I was actually in the middle of making the personality quiz again, because all the previous work you saw in those 3 last videos were made in Game Maker Studio, which I then had to try to rework into Unity. So I still have the personality quiz thing to work out, which that's something a feature I really want to add into the kit, because everyone loves how they had like the personality quiz, and in Super Mystery Dungeon I liked how they didn't, like, if you didn't like the choice or the Pokemon you were given, you get to choose from different Pokemon, but they still had the beginning intro, like, to give you like, oh, you're more like this Pokemon, so here, and if you don't like this Pokemon, you can always choose something else you think you like more. Oh yeah, the background is actually a playlist. Most songs are like, some of them are like not listed on, so you can only find them in this playlist, which is fun. But this is the name of the playlist if you ever want to search it up. But like, I'm probably gonna take questions from Explorers of the Sky, and maybe like some Super Mystery Dungeon games, but overall I want to have it so that you can edit the questions. If you want to add your own questions in here, you can easily switch it up, and then you can change it how, like, what questions affect which personality type you get in as a result. So like, I'm trying to, and after this, I'm like, if I somehow manage to get through all this, I want to like start commenting up more. In the beginning I started commenting, you know what's going on, but I kind of stopped because I didn't really think after I finished this kit, like, no one would really care too much about it, so I'll really be the only one using it. But I must try to use it more. I'm trying to comment it more. See, what's more difficult about Super Mystery Dungeon is that, what the Super Mystery Dungeon models is that because the entire Super Mystery Dungeon is based on 3D. This kit is more 2D, so it's easier to make your own, like, it's easier to change things up when it's in 2D. When it's in 3D, you have to learn about first programming a game, how it is, and then also the 3D aspect of such a game. This is a lot easier to make it in 2D. Yeah, you can, because I've known that trying to make a ROM hacks out of this is incredibly difficult. Like, making ROM hacks in general out of Super Mystery Dungeon stuff, or Pokemon Mystery Dungeon in general, because they hard code everything into the game, so you could change like slight things, like maybe like what Pokemon you start off with, or like what other Pokemon there are, or what items you get, but like overall, the story of the game is very set. I really don't like that. So I decided, like, we make something like this, like a kit. I hate, like, I have to keep going back and forth. Like, there's no way I can pop this out, or let's see. Oh, that's not what I wanted. There you go. This is so much better. Okay, so overall, like the most difficult part for what I had so far was making the event system. The event system is what most of the game in Mystery Dungeon game is run off. Like when you see a cutscene, that's an event system. Like when you see, like in the beginning of the game, when you have to, when let's say Explorers of the Sky, for instance, when you wake up on the beach and you see these flashing lights and cutting different things, that itself is cutscene run by an event system. The event system I finally finished, so in theory you can make that exact same beginning of the cutscene for Explorers of the Sky on here. What I need to do is still find a way to work out the dungeon, like the battle mechanics of the dungeon, because making it turn-based is a lot more difficult than it seems. But like I could in how I make how I would implement the similar turn-based style that has in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Like for Pokemon Essentials, it was a lot easier to implement the battle system because everything can be but not a lot. I wouldn't say a lot easier, but it was a lot more straightforward than how you would go on about it, because you have your own separate scene. Like, oh, you have your battle, like what you do in battles, and then when you do an overworld, like when you walk around, and that's completely separate from the battles. Well, in Mystery Dungeon, you kind of have to walk around in the dungeons as well as fight, and show those different types of animation, which is a lot different. I really thank everyone who's here for the support. I remember there was a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon like multiplayer online, which is like not really Mystery Dungeon format. They have like some of the sprites and like, oh, you can go into dungeons and stuff, but it wasn't really like true to the Mystery Dungeon kind of thing. Right. What I'm trying to do is keep a more Mystery Dungeon where every time you go in a dungeon, it's randomly generated, where you can go to different floors and take on quests on those floors sometimes. After this kit is finished, I plan to release some like tutorials, maybe perhaps to help people out that get into how they would actually use this kit. But that's like far ways from now, like maybe a year or two from here, from when I actually finish this, because developing this alone is quite a challenge. Like I have to come up with everything I know from scratch. If there's something I need help with, like implementing a certain mechanic, like making the items inside the game, or use how those items affect and how coding or inventory types of like scripts, I have to figure that all by myself. But like maybe hopefully I get some more help along the way, like now that more people know about this, that I won't be here alone. Because right now I am doing this kit, I'm in my university doing my own projects, and I'm not even a computer science major, I'm an applied math major, which is like completely different. Like, well, not completely different, but it's very different from computer science. So I'm just here trying to do my best, because I know like if I somehow manage to complete this, it's gonna be a great win for the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon community, because I haven't, like, it's been like a couple years since they released Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, or so, and I felt like Pokemon has given up on that side, the side series, so they're not gonna make any more. Like Super Mystery Dungeon was supposed to be the climactic Mystery Dungeon to get all, like, it goes to every single previous dungeon region, and you can meet characters from the previous games and do all this cool stuff, but like that was their final thing, or so I think. how Pokeminer 20 says, truth be told, the proper progress should be player stuff, followed by overworld, followed by Pokemon data, then battle engine. So that's what I've been trying to focus on a little bit. I've done some player stuff. I've pretty much completed the overworld stuff. You can change between stuff. And then Pokemon data. Pokemon data was actually taken, like, translated from the ROM into a readable format, XML. Like Pokemon data. So all I have to do is really interpret it, which I kind of made a skeleton version of it, like in the, where is it, Pokemon? NPC, here we go. NPC, so NPC right here, you already see some stats, like, oh, you want to calculate how many total stats you have, or update your stats, or add levels, or add XP, or set level. I have like the code here, just no way to implement it just yet. So I'm probably gonna work on the battle system last. I want to work on an easy way to make a menu system that way you can, like, people like you can easily change to add their own types of menus if you don't like the way the menu is set up. Maps, they should be, since I try to make them, let's see, like, let me replay this. The overworld map should be something similar to this. Well, not like this black space of nothingness, but like you can easily move around normally, and setting up maps shouldn't, or at least shouldn't be that too difficult, because I already started to make some tile set. Tiny middle. So if you go to, let me, wait. So we have some tile sets that automatically line up, and you can use because like in Mystery Dungeon way, there's like a Mystery Dungeon has a very weird way of formatting their tiles, because every single tile you see, that can say in Treasure Town, in the second Mystery Dungeon game, each of those tiles is a 8x8, which is like a super small pixel, while their regular game and dungeon tiles are like 24x24, which is kind of hard to make it, like, make this how should I say it? Like, see, I already like started practicing with some of the dungeon generation, or how the dungeon generation would work with the water and stuff. But I'll figure out a way to make it so that you can easily make a town without worrying too much about the specifics or the coding or the data. I'm trying to make it so even if you don't know too much about code, that you can easily use this. You just like maybe look up a tutorial or two on how to like change some text, or like change what kind of like background you want or whatever. But right now I'm gonna do the menu system, then work on the, once the menu system finished, I'm gonna finish the personality quiz so you can choose what Pokemon you want. And so like whenever you choose it, it has like different options. Like it would switch your, like, currently I have Munchlax as your like default overworld thing because I like Munchlax, but it would switch whatever you have to that thing, like, and make sure like everything works out. So I'm gonna do it kind of in that order, where it goes from menus to personality quiz, and that should be like the big things right now. So I have to make it with a banking system where you can store items and add items. I have to actually add the items because I have the data for the items too. I just need to understand what some of this information means. Like it's kind of obvious, like, oh, it's short description, long description, buy, sell price, and then these parameters of an item IDs are like, I need to figure out how to use those. Okay, so yeah, so once I figure, because getting I could technically you find some free resources for like from Pokemon Essentials background, but those are 32 by 32. Have it here. Oh, let me click on this actually, see what. So some possible features I was thinking of, like first I'm gonna set up, like start doing what I was continuing doing, finishing. I'm going to finish the important stuff first, like what you really need in a Mystery Dungeon game, and then started adding things. Multiplayer functionality is really something that, like, maybe like it's a really week, maybe. Like, I'm probably not gonna do it if it's too difficult, because it's setting up servers and client size and it's an entire own thing. But I'm not sure how people feel about IQs. I remember they removed that in Gates 2 Infinity. I'm not really, and that's like a big thing in battle wise when it comes to how it affects you. What else I have? Oh, I'm not sure if you guys noticed. Oh, hold up. But I actually been trying to generate dungeons. I'm not sure. Let's see. Hold on. If I press play, like it shouldn't be finished. You can just see like there's one square in the middle that's grass. Yeah, like. But like you can see there's variation in the wall and like how there's variation on the ground. I kind of want to keep that like in the game, because not a lot of people know those nuances that keep the dungeons from looking like plain. But making the dungeon itself is a little tricky, because you have to, like, I can make it all floor and sometimes, but like the way dungeon generation works, how it worked on my previous video. Let me see if I can show you my previous video. Like in the previous video, some of the rooms collided within themselves. Like this one right here, you can see like there's a room and they try to form, and then there's another room there, which is not great in terms of programming. Because what if you want to have a monster house, right? And you have a bunch of items laid on the floor, but that room, like one of those monster house rooms, collides with an ordinary room. So we're not really sure what exactly is the monster house. Like what place would it be? So I need to rework how the generation is. So like the rooms itself don't really merge together into one big room. Like a little. There you go. There you go. That's a lot better. But where was? Oh yeah. Oh, and even here in the previous personality, you can see how Game Maker wasn't really that fast in terms of processing, because where is it? There is it. There's like a small pause right there where it takes like so much processing power to just determine what Pokemon your partner can be. Yeah, like right there. It's a half a second pause, but like it shows how slow original Game Maker was, and I'm trying to move more to Unity. Like exactly, like what do you said, like how you said, like can you imagine a monster house inside a monster house? Like that is technically a possibility in the original programming, like dungeon creation, because if I treated each one of those was randomly a monster house, there's a chance that if you run into a monster house and all those items on the ground, and you run into the second inner monster house, that would cause us like more Pokemon to fall. That would just be terrible. Traps themselves, like items, traps, and what else? Just items and traps themselves. Programming into the dungeon isn't very difficult. You just have a like after you choose the floor, you like randomly choose a points on the floor and say, hey, these points on the floor are now traps. You can choose between these many traps or whatever. Those themselves, traps themselves, won't be too difficult to implement. Let's see. Let me just turn off this. There you go. So, how would I go on this? Like, what I'm more worried about is that Nintendo sending me an email about saying, hey, you have to stop doing what you're doing and just stop working on that project. Because I honestly started working on this project just for fun, just to see if I can do it, and then now people are supporting me in doing this project, and it kind of makes me want to finish it more. Because before I was a year, like the last couple months, I've been really been doing too much. I've done some progress, but it's a lot slower since didn't really have a lot of people there supporting me. There's a lot of people in this live stream just wanting me to finish it, and I'm showing them what I'm doing. That I'm hoping that I can finish this without any legal problems. Like I know Nintendo shut down Pokemon Essentials, and the original download links are now taken down, but you can still get them if you really want to. But yeah, just finishing this seems like a little far-fetched, but it's still possible for me to finish it, because I feel like I said before, Nintendo really isn't worrying too much about their Mystery Dungeon series anymore. It's like they moved past that. They were not really concerned about it. But because they're more focused on the main series, because I wasn't surprised that the main series game, how the battle is and the turn-based and fan games like that were being taken down, because it's what Pokemon Company and Nintendo itself gains a lot of money from, and if they're getting another game like that, while Mystery Dungeon itself is more of a side series, they gain some money from it, but they're not gain a lot. Most of the work is based on the Spike Chunsoft, but they really haven't Nintendo itself, I'm not sure if you guys Pokemon Pinball, if someone made a fan game very similar to Pokemon Pinball, I'm pretty sure Nintendo wouldn't really concern itself with that. Or if made a Pokemon Snap fan game, they wouldn't really be concerned about those kind of fan games, because it's not really eating away at their their money, gaining money, and people stop buying Pokemon Snap because it's not really out anymore. But game like Mystery Dungeon is a kind of in between. It's heading to the part where Nintendo doesn't really care, but it's still one of the more popular spin-offs from Pokemon. But you guys have any questions on what I'm doing, or what I'm planning to do, or what do you guys want to see in this kit? I'm still kind of early in development. I've done the event scripting, which is a huge deal for game development, and getting that event scripting out is a pretty important part.
and I've managed to pretty much finish with it. I'm sure I can add more features, but are there anything you guys specifically want to see in this? Was interesting in making was character created, like user created dungeons. That would be something I'd like to implement. It's the way you share those dungeons might be a little tricky. Like, how would you share a user created dungeon or tower or floor or whatever? But like, it's something I would like. It wouldn't be too difficult to implement a user created dungeon and have it someone else play like your dungeon. But I really want to see that worked out. Like, I'm not like, having something like that would be great if I managed to make it somehow. Like, for now I'm trying to get what the base of Mystery Dungeon is. Just have the event system up so you can make cutscenes and have NPCs to talk to. Have some items in there you can use and sell the Kecleon shop, and then just have a mystery dungeon that you can actually go in there and fight some random Pokemon that appear. Once I get that out of the way, I can start adding extra features. Once I get just the minimum out of the way, I can start adding like I don't know, investments for a bank or whatever, or adding user created dungeons. Good cinematic, like, see, I feel like I can do that. Like, all I have to do is change how that, like, control angles and change like how the camera works out. Like, I could just have it so like you type in move camera to position whatever, or move camera up this much at this speed, and have like one character to this motion. Like, that would be not too difficult to implement. Like, I'm pretty sure I could I've already done something similar to that. Like, sure how many people missed the beginning or me showing this part, but it's kind of simple. You go to the beginning. This is like an overworld kind of thing where you enter right now. Okay. Give me a second. Okay, so I'm just gonna show the beginning. I'm not sure how many people missed it, but it should not give me any errors. So here you can just normally walk. The way that you can change, like, this could be like a little NPC you want to have in your world. You can, to activate his event or like what he does, you have to run into him. You can change all that in this. Where is it? Attention. It's not really a Bulbasaur. I changed it to a Charizard, but you can change his name. You can even make it show like show what name you want to have. Like, let's say you don't want to have a name as Charizard, you want to have a character in the game nickname Char. Like what color his name would be in a little tag, and what direction he's facing. You want to have direction of 5 or something. Right, it just changes whatever face thing, and then in this, each event has their own thing, which means like how they're triggered. One event 1 is set to touch, which means you have to physically bump into the Pokemon to activate it, or there's also action when you have to face the Pokemon and press enter or whatever to activate it. Then there's range where you have to walk in front of a certain range of the Pokemon and then it activates. And there's also auto activate, which automatically activates as soon as it gets a chance to. That's more useful for cutscenes like auto active. Into him and started doing the message thing. You can change the speed of how fast some things go. You could also hold enter to switch up how fast the speed goes. Okay, I'm 2 seconds. I'm gonna move somewhere. That's like an event you can do. Like you make that into a cutscene where the guy gets, where Charizard, I don't know, gets angry, upset, and walks somewhere, and then turns around to you. You can also change the text box. It's using and choice systems, which saves, like, you can save that into a global variable for later. So let's say you want to have a really choice-based game where it has different endings or whatever. You can really save all your choices in say global variables thing, so you can save them forever. So the event's over, so the only way to activate event 2 is to press face forward and press enter. If I'm facing the other way, press enter, it's not working. If I face forward and press enter, wait. So event 3 is walking in front of it, so I don't have to touch it, and it does it. And it just stays on event 3. This is like really useful for like making doors or whatever. You can make the event invisible, or like say you want to have someone like being a bodyguard for I don't know, a guild or whatever. You can make it like, oh, stop, and then you turn around. It's like what I have, a little showcase for you. Everything else is more technical. Like I'm not sure anyone's really interested in the actual code behind the dialogue, or how I parse the animation to make it exactly how it is in the original game. Let me go back to chat. Gridless floors. Yeah, gridless floors. Just not showing any grids. Yeah, that could. I'm sure I could make that anyway. Oh, gender 0? Yeah, gender just means gender 0. 0 is male and 1 is female, I think. I'm not entirely sure. Let me. Right here, I think it's Sprite. Yeah, 0 is male, 1 is female. It's just for like, say you want to have a, like, I know Ivysaur or someone has a slight like some Pokemon have slight gender differences, like that aren't too obvious, but they have different entirely sprites for them. So let me see if I can find like an example. No, that's not what I want. Characters. There you go. 20 and 26. Ooh, I'm sure there's like a difference somewhere, but they have slight differences. Like I know Pikachu's tail, it has a little heart on it when it's female, but that's just like that itself is just 0-1 is just means their gender. So there's a couple things you can change, like last time. Like I think say you want Charizard's color thing to be red because he's a. You can see it changes color. But where is it? Where's the chat? Yeah, some Pokemon don't have genders. Some Pokemon have different forms. Like the Unknown have so many different forms for each letter. It is just little things you can change up in here. Portraits. Ah, of course, portraits. Somewhere like, but I'm not really entirely sure whether I should go for Super Mystery Dungeon portraits because they have different designs to it than Explorers of the Sky and Red Rescue, Blue Rescue. I'm sure. Where is it? Portraits. These are currently the. I still need to set them in a way where the game could automatically decide which portrait you want for the situation. Because you know how, like, say Bulbasaur has different types of animations, right? And grinning, angry, or not animation, expressions. Or like Ivysaur doesn't. Some people prefer 2D, some people prefer 3D. It's all about preference. Maybe I can have it where you can choose which portrait you want. Like you have both portraits are programmed into the game, but you could just toggle which one you want, or something similar to that. Like Charizard has less expression. So that's a little difficult to get a programming around. Like it's a little difficult. So I'm thinking more. So I'm getting more of getting the Pokemon into their like switching between 3D or 2D versions of their portrait. I'm gonna try to first. I'm gonna start with the 2D version, and then if I can implement a 3D version in some kind, because right now I have it more as a for the portraits. They're more arranged in the way I can use them. While the 3D, I have to take them from Spider's resources or whatever, because no one really has made mods for the Super Mystery Dungeon or Gates to Infinity ROM, 3D ROM. It's ROMs themselves are just very difficult to hack or program or get information out of because they're just so compact in the way they store their information. Let's see, Gates to Infinity. I think Gates to Infinity has mugshots. So you have all these mugshots. But where's Pokemon? Is it Super Mystery Dungeon? That's what I call it. The point is, it's a bit more difficult to get the 3D's portraits more in the format that I need them in the game, but it's not entirely impossible either. It's just a lot of tedious work. Oh yes, if you have the link to all the portraits online for the 3D version cropped out, that would be really helpful. I'm just... There you go. Oh, if you ever see this message, make sure you contact me, because you should not be able to see this message at all whatsoever. Because that's like just a debug message. It's a default message to just have on for the text box. So this should always be overridden with something. If it's not, then something's definitely wrong. But like, I just like to keep these little tidbits in here in case I ever mess up on anything. I was working on the menu system before I did this. I'll have it so like you can bring it up whenever you need to, like these different options for like starting a new game. There's a menu for pressing your settings, and when right before the title, right after the title screen, or like or right in the middle of the game, you want to switch the settings to see what items you have. I'm trying to make it more like I don't know how to say it. You can use it for whatever you want to, and you're not really restricted on a type. You need to use a menu for, like, say you want to format the menu, like say you have a really cool idea for how to make a menu in your fan game. I want to make sure that it's a lot easier to transition to that menu and not have to make a bunch of code to like just transform it. You have to maybe want to have a different menu. You want to have a circle menu, or I don't know, menu go from left to right or up and down. I want to have it so that like you just have to switch one number or switch a few, like add a little bit code here and there, and it does what you need to do. But right now I'm trying to set up the menu so it won't just have nothing here. We want something here because it's our new venture. Hooray! Doesn't really do anything for us. It's a good thing you bring that up for Can We Play as Bidoof. I want it so you can just like, oh, but say what Pokemon you want as your starters, or like what answers you want for your personality quiz, or what Pokemon are available as your starters. You can just type in like their national Pokedex numbers, and you can have those instead of like, say you don't want to really play as a Bulbasaur or whatever. You can start it up as a Bidoof or whatever. Or you could only want like the original starters. You want to have like Shinx and Meowth, like how they did in some of the games, where it was some of them weren't even starters. They were just random unevolved Pokemon that really fit well into the personality types. Of course you can have a Magikarp and play as a Magikarp starter. I don't know why would you want to, but like, it's a possibility. Thanks to you for joining the stream. It was really good to have all the support for the game, or this kit I'm making. I'm gonna continue to work on it when I have free time. Alright? But it's just very difficult to do it on my own. And if anyone has any programming experience, specifically in C# or Unity itself, I would be super helpful to get in contact with you with. I could use some help in a lot of things, like setting up the menu system for the inventory and getting the save data, or like you don't have to go out of your way to ask someone to help me, but it would be a help if you knew someone who was a fan of the Mystery Dungeon series and wanted to help contribute to this project. Like sharing the code like my code is a little messy, which I can like try to fix up and change some of the variable names to be more appropriate to what they do, and add more comments here and there. Because some of these things don't have comments on them, and maybe because I know what they do, it's just does someone else know what they're doing? Really important. It's really important to have someone else know what I'm doing so they can help contribute to it. Because if they just look at my code and just like, what the hell is this? It very helpful for them to help me, since they would have to try to work it out, like what I was doing in that certain spot or what I'm not. So I'm gonna try to start adding more. I don't know. I was gonna say adding more explanation to the code, more comments to it, so they know what I was gonna do. That's it. Oh, will I archive this stream? Yes, I might. I will archive this stream, or at least have it like available. If I can, I'm not really entirely sure if YouTube will allow that. I should be like, oh, you shouldn't see that. Like I should be able to save this stream. Oh, I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why this is here. This should have been this, but oops. I don't know why it just. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do streaming more fluently, because this and this was not great. Like the beginning was really terrible. Like, ouch. Oh, youch. Oh, I feel really bad. Okay, so I need to figure out how to how to change this, because this was not really helpful for setting up a stream if half my audience is in a different video. But yeah, if I want to keep it a live stream or an update video or something at least once a month, so you know how far or how much work I've done. Like, oh, like I've added this thing, like added banking system, or I've added items to the game or to the kit. Right now, like if I've released what I have right now, it's not gonna be particularly useful to really quite anyone. Like, maybe people who know, have experience with coding or programming in general, and are interested in helping out the project in that way. But I haven't really commented a lot of my code, so it might be like very confused for like a while until I start commenting. So right now at this moment I can put a download link. It's just it won't really help anyone out. You can't really make a game out of it. There's no dungeon version. There's no dungeons. There's no safe functionality right now. Let's see. What else do I need to do? Might as well start working on the menu system. Kind of still need to finish working on a bunch of features. Oh, and the menu, the intro, where is it? You know, this kind of cinematic beginning up where it scrolls up and shows the sun, the thing fades in, and this shows that this is really just a bunch of things moving around at the same time. Why is it not showing? whatever the case is. It's really just a bunch of items moving around, and it wasn't that difficult to program into. I want to have it so there's a bunch of different versions of going at it. So let's say you don't really like how in the beginning it scrolls up, and you want to have something, I don't know, more flash, like more dramatic intro. Like I want to have it so there's multiple different types of intros you can use as well, because it's, where is it? Yes. Hold up. Scene scripts, yeah. Is it intro scene 1? You're just adding sprites and stuff and making them rotate. And all you really need to do for intro scene is make sure you have at least this part where it says, oh, you click on the button submit, and you move on to the next scene, to the important menu. Also have, where is it? Resources, background art. Have these background arts I'm hoping to use as just backgrounds to have in the menu system. They're all not the same format, so it might be a bit difficult to get them all the right dimensions, but there's just something I want to make sure like someone has the ability to add. Say you want to have your own fan art in the background of the menu, you could totally do that. It's just you can totally change this. All I gotta do is go to the menu and just change the image files and the background music and everything. You can easily change. It's just drag and drop, quite simple. And it's randomized too, so it randomly chooses one of the background images. So that one's, before it was the blue crystal. Now it's Shinx and Vulpix and Bidoof doing their thing. Yeah, it's just little things I want to make sure I keep in there. I still need to do a lot of things. Oh, did it? Oh. Another thing, I can't link the Pokemon collection on YouTube, so just reply to my Twitter. Okay, I will do. I'll make sure I want to keep track of everyone who contributes to the project or in some way or another, because I've bookmarked some of the resources I used, and I want to make sure I credit the people who've come up with the resources. Like, I could not have gotten the image files without Saya Commando's useful array of tools, and then interpreting the file. Like, some of the game, like, oh, this means the gender, this means the body size, base attack and speed. If you contribute anything to the project, I'll make sure I write down your name, something to contact you with, or something to credit to you. The game, I'm trying to either get fan renditions of the Mystery Dungeon music to have there. And I'm gonna ask the people who created it, like, hey, are you okay with your music being in my starter kit for everyone else to use, as long as they credit you or whatever? If not, I'm gonna just have basic royalty-free music on there I can find on YouTube that allows me to use. I know there's some decent versions, some decent music on there that won't be too bad for a game, but like it's royalty-free music sometimes is not so great. Oh, I need to stop playing. But I'm not sure how many people are familiar with Unity themselves, because I know that if I would have made it completely from scratch, like C++, how I originally was intending to do it, that I either have to come up with my own program so people can make their game, or I have to make a tutorial on how to program in C++, which is a whole entire thing. But Unity themselves has their own, like, has an easy way to like adjust things and add features to it without going through a whole heck of a lot of programming mess. Gen 7 Pokemon, like I said before, adding Pokemon from Gen 4 up to Gen 4 is my priority right now. Or just keeping it, like I already have it on here. Just making sure I can make it in a way so if anyone wants to spend time adding the newer generation on there, because I'm sure in DeviantArt there's a bunch of fan-made sprites for like the newer generation for the but I'm sure there's a bunch of fan rendition sprites of like the newer generation in the style of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. All I have to do is just get them in a similar way that these are made in the sheet format, where it has every single sprite equally distant from themselves, right? And then you have an XML file which tells them how each animation is. Animation is very long, because this accounts for every single animation possible for that Pokemon can do. It tells you the animation sequence, how long you have to wait in between frames, how off your thing is, if you need to mirror it like vertically or horizontally or whatever, where to move the shadow to, because each Pokemon has a shadow. So right here, just for Charmander, there are about 16,844 lines just for animating Charmander himself. Just Charmander and all of his moves. Just one single Pokemon. So imagine doing that for the rest of the next 5 generation Pokemon. No, 5th generation, 6th generation, 7th generation. Even if you do have the image sprites for that generation, it's gonna take so long just to create a XML file of all the animation possible for the thing. Maybe I'll make a separate program that converts, like makes the animation file for you, but overall it's just very difficult to do. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure I keep these music people into my credits folder. I'll have them there. Okay. if anyone would like say some reason Nintendo does manage to get a hold of me and say that I'm not allowed to work on this anymore, I will release the move datas and items and everything I've been working on, and then just like stop working on it in total. Let's see if anyone can continue it, but that's if they might, because if it gets big enough where a lot of people are making fan games afterwards, Nintendo is gonna take notice. If not, then like before, like during the development stage, I'm not really too concerned because I haven't really put out too much information about it, like how much progress I've done up until this live stream. So there's that. Planning to do the menu system after I finish. I have everything I need to do written down on my little notepad on the side. I'm working on the menu system first. Then I'm gonna work on implementing item system, just the inventory and money, just to have an overworld, everything in the overworld, basically finishing. But before that, I have to finish the personality quiz. Just have it's not very difficult to do. I already have the basic setup. I already have the way to record it. It's not very difficult to do. But if they do manage to take it down, they might hopefully make another game. Like if it gets big enough where they decide to go after me and take down this project, then I might be paying some attention that they might make another game, because if they're concerned about taking down my project, then yeah, they might be planning to make another game. But I doubt it. I really do. See you later, Blazing La Resta. It is good to stay positive, but yeah, I'm hoping I can, like, by the end of this year, I hope to get a lot more progress done where you can make a basic game but not a really good game. But like, I'm just hoping to have the basics down, like the very bare basics, or at least the framework for it, because the framework, like, if as long as I have the skeleton, because I have the skeleton build for the stats and stuff, like how much like how to calculate the stats, and there's already people have already done the calculating the damage output, which I can adjust, because I swear sometimes damage isn't so great in Mystery Dungeon. Someone has already worked out the variables and how to do some things. So implementing that, it's just the battle system itself. But I have, like, point is, I have the basic framework for the stats and damage already set up for me. I just have to build around it and make the system itself. So I'm. Does anyone have any questions about, like, what exactly they want to see, or what I'm doing after this live stream? Because I'm going to be working on the project, or what they want to see in the potential kits, like what they really want to see, like what they really want in the Mystery Dungeon kit. Any questions about really anything I've said before in the last hour and a half? that's it, then I can end the stream and continue working on it. I might make a little montage of me working on the project, or like a update like every month or something, to show like how much progress I've done after this video. But it's a little difficult to do, but I'm a little bit more determined to finish it after all this. I should probably end the stream then. It wasn't like a big showcase, but I hope people enjoyed it.